President Trump meeting with Border Patrol officials in Yuma, Arizona, surveying measures they are taking to tighten border security. The president also meeting with members of the military before heading to his rally tonight in Phoenix. Yuma, Arizona has been in chaos for years, a ceaseless flood of illegal immigrants leaving horrendous conditions back home, and also drugs and criminals pouring over the border. At its worst, agents were arresting on average 800 illegals a day in Yuma. That's according to one estimate. Thousands of trucks also crossed over, filled with drugs and even more illegal immigrants, but that has turned around. Let's take this to former Arizona Sheriff. He's Paul Babeu. Good to see you, Sheriff.
It's good to see you. Thank you.
What do you think the president is hearing in his meeting with border officials today?
That enforcing the law actually does work. That we've used Yuma, one of 9 Border Patrol sectors from California, clear across the southwest border through Texas, and they have been the model, in fact, of enforcement. They use what's called Operation Streamline, meaning any illegals who came through, nobody received catch and release. They were actually prosecuted, so we had consequences. Yet the failure, and certainly under Obama, they had catch and release, was alive and well. And so President Trump is hearing that, and he has already brought a complete 180-degree change just by not only his words, but by telling the Border Patrol, we will support you, enforce the law, ending catch and release, and then through Attorney General Sessions, actually bringing all of his force to bear on elevating the priority of criminal prosecutions against these criminal illegals. So all of those things have had a tremendous impact. We're seeing as high as 70% reduction across the entire border for illegal immigration, and that's terrific news for us.
You know, Sheriff Bill Clinton, Barbara Jordan, civil rights advocate, even President Obama and Hillary Clinton were for tough borders. They didn't like criminal illegals coming in and wreaking havoc on innocent citizens of the United States. What are you seeing when it comes to crime rates in your neck of the woods?
Well, crime has gone down dramatically in a lot of areas in the United States. Yet what we've seen and what has been the big outcry from American citizens is criminal illegals, that smaller percentage of the illegal population that has gone without any enforcement. They'd commit crimes, in many cases very violent crimes, from rape, murder, even sexual assaults and all kinds of other violent crimes, and they would just get released back to the community. And we've seen that from Kate Steinle to situations here in Arizona with Grant Ronenbach, and it's mirrored all across the United States. Thousands and thousands of these cases that were close to home to people. Yeah. And so now the president has prioritized these criminals are going to be arrested, prosecuted, and then they're deported for good. And it couldn't be soon enough.
I need to correct myself. It was Senator Barack Obama and Senator Hillary Clinton were tough on the border. Let's get to Sheriff Joe Arpaio. You have argued that the president should not pardon Sheriff Joe, and it looks like that's not going to happen. What were your thoughts there?
Well, I've served with Sheriff Joe Arpaio in neighboring counties, and I've always supported him. And he's done a good job, has a long career in law enforcement. Yet this is a misdemeanor. We have to keep in mind that it's a contempt of court, of the federal courts, and it hasn't been concluded. The judge hasn't issued a sentence. It's likely because of his age, 85 years old, and the fact that he's had an unblemished record, no trouble with the law throughout his entire life. Those are all mitigating factors. So likely this will result in a financial fine. And so until that happens, the president shouldn't, my respectful advice, shouldn't enter into that process until he knows what he's dealing with. And if it's a fine, the sheriff can just simply pay it, or there's an appeals process. But the president should not use his political capital for something as relatively minor than this. The sheriff was doing his job, working as we in local, county, state law enforcement in the past, before Obama, always worked with the feds for immigration. And so now those days have returned, but this is the very thing that he's being held to account for by this federal judge.